The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the late start. We had a technical problem here. Welcome to the TAPS Music Championships webinar. My name is John Skees. I am the Director of Media here at TAPS. Today we're joined by Robert Huckabee, who's our Athletic Director and Director of Compliance, by Vina Williams, who is our Fine Arts Director. She's going to be leading us through the content today, and Brian Bunselmeyer, who is the TAPS Executive Director. Few things about the webinar today. As we go through the content, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the questions box that you're going to see on the GoToWebinar control panel. We will try to answer those as we go. We're going to keep an eye on that box. If we don't get to it right when you ask it, we will come back to it at the question and answer session at the end of the webinar. But if there's a question that's too detailed or too into the weeds for us to address here, and we don't get to it, please send us an email at info@taps.biz and we will answer your question that way. This webinar is being recorded. We are going to have a copy on our YouTube channel. And also, for those of you who registered for this webinar in advance, you're going to get a link later today or tomorrow from GoToWebinar that has a link to the recording so that you can refer to this content later, so that you can share this with any other people at your campus that might need this information. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Brian and we're going to get started.
Thank you all for joining us here today. This webinar does replace our January meeting, and I think we found a new outlet for our opportunity to communicate rather than everybody driving to Waco. We're going to do it from a distance with the webinar scenario. Our webinars so far today for academics and art and speech have gone well. We do encourage you to type your questions in that question box. We'll get to them as soon as possible. We will be updating the TAPS website as we go through, and links to this will be available for you to come back to or for you to share with others in your department or others that you know. So Vina, I appreciate you being here today and lead us on in this conversation.
Thanks, Brian. Let me introduce myself. I'm Vina Williams, the Director of Fine Arts with TAPS. In order for us to be most effective, it's important for you all to know with whom and how to communicate with our office. So our office, the best way to reach us is through our contact link on the website or through direct email to info@taps.biz. These email tickets are accessible by all our staff and guarantees you get the right person to respond to your inquiries. Also, equally important for us is to know all of you. Your school needs to designate a fine arts director, who is our first point of contact from our office to your school, and also let us know all your music teachers, including the assistants, so band, choir, and orchestra. You'll designate these roles in our online systems, which we will cover shortly. I do want to thank our music committees. We do have a band, choir, and orchestra, drumline, and marching band committees. I appreciate their assistance throughout the year, mentoring to new directors, as well as answering questions and assisting at our events and leading workshops at our summer convention. So thank you to all who serve on the committee, and thanks to Jason Montier, who is our committee chairman. I appreciate all the time that they put in to help us with our events and making things smooth for our schools. TAPS commits to building leadership, fellowship, fair play, and sportsmanship of students by providing wholesome competition for our young men and women. About 110 of our member schools come together to participate in our championship event at solo and ensemble and at concert contest. And so I look forward to another great year of our school's participation. So where do we start? It's the #1 question I get from new to TAPS teachers. So we'll go through this session together this season, but today, the webinar session will get you headed in the right direction and set you up for success. We'll discuss where to get the information, how to prepare yourself, how to prepare your students, and the categories of participation. We'll talk about what we expect and what you can expect at our events. So let me first talk about our 3 websites that you need to become familiar with. The first one is taps.biz. This is where all the information is shared. On our webpage, it has a main link at the top, has recently viewed posts on the right, and if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see our calendar. Feel free to explore all the links, but today we'll look closer at the fine arts links and the music specific links. So clicking fine arts on the main menu, it takes you to our fine arts overview page. This overview page, there's several links for music. Drumline and marching band and field band took place last semester. So for now, we're going to just look at the choir band and orchestra links. Instead of me going through each of the three, we're just going to kind of focus on one, but they're all basically mirrored. Below that is a chart. Below the chart is a list of fine arts fees, including the fees for the championship event, as well as archive results, honors, and certificates. So be sure to scroll down on any of the web pages to see all the contents. Let's click band to find out more. Here you'll find important dates and deadlines on the right, actually on the left, and you'll see the news blast emails on the right, archives. As resources become available, they will be added on this page. There's also a red menu bar that gives us the information we need for the championship events. For music, this includes solo and ensemble, as well as concert contests, and for band, it also includes fall band entries. The rules link will take you to our bylaws. Now, when you click this rules link from this band page or from any of the music pages, if you just take a moment to let it load, the document will jump straight to the music rules. If you start scrolling before it's completely loaded, you'll override the jump to feature, and you'll have to scroll through all the athletics and all the rest of the fine arts before you get to the music sections. So if you're just a little bit patient and let the whole thing load, it will actually jump straight to the music portions that you'll need to read. The solo and ensemble link and the concert link will have information on locations, schedules, maps to facilities, and information specific to those days' events. The honors will be where we post our results, and the frequently asked questions will be updated as we receive questions throughout the season. That hotels link right there will take you to our hotels booking page. It does have our events in for the season, so you can go ahead and start booking your hotels. We'll talk more about preparation and meet logistics soon, but first let's look at the other two websites. Rank1. Rank1 is our student eligibility and coach compliance. Rank1 is our new system, so you will have to become very familiar with this, but it is our main way to contact you. So it's important that everybody gets put in Rank1. You'll need to make sure that you're set up with your athletic director or fine arts director. Your faculty profile will need to be complete with scope compliance. Now, if you're exempt from the scope for attending the June convention, hooray for you. You still will need to complete the professional acknowledgement of rules. So your profile is not quite complete until you've signed that acknowledgement of rules. Your students will also need to have profiles established so that eligibility can be determined. Your students will be listed on band, choir, and orchestra rosters for easy access to the eligibility list. Student registration in Rank1 may take some time for the students to get fully eligible, especially if there's something special about their situation, if they were a transfer or an international student or something like that. Please do not wait until the day before entries are due or even the day of entries to get this eligibility process started. Parents do have to log in and complete the account profile. Our band directors and drumline directors have already done most of this if they went to marching band or fall band. So they're familiar and they know that it takes time. This year, a health form filled out by parents is required for eligibility, and for band, including marching band, field bands, and drum lines, they also need a physical form to be filled out by a doctor. Like I said, this is our main outlet for contacting you, so it's really important that you get your contact information in there and up to date. Now, we have had some questions regarding Rank1 in the webinars earlier today, and so I'm going to let Robert talk a little bit about Rank1.
Thank you, Vina. Good afternoon to everyone. Rank1 is new. We started it last summer into the fall, and so if you're not familiar with Rank1, like Vina said, number one, make sure you're in the system so we can get all of our communication, all of our push notifications, emails, and updates that are coming out to you, and that you're in the loop on that. In addition, all of your students need to be in Rank1. They should already be in the system, Most schools uploaded all of their student base into there at the beginning of the year, but that's not the case for everyone. So you could have some students that are not in there. So first they need to be in the system. And then once they're in the system, there's a process they go through where their parents fill out their student profile. They answer 4 or 5 questions that let us know if they're international students or transfer students. It's a very simple process. If any of those forms need to be filled out, make sure that's done and those are completed. The student profile is also where the parents and students will sign online their annual acknowledgement of rules. That's something we've required every year for many years now. It's always been hard copies. Now that's all done online and it's available there in Rank1. The final piece of the puzzle that we had some questions about earlier when we were dealing with speech academics and the art group is are these students that are in fine arts that are only doing these competitions, are they required to have a physical? And the answer to that would be no. All athletics require a physical. Our fine arts require a physical. If you're in the fall band competition, one act play, cheer and dance. But for our other competitions in the spring, our normal fine arts competitions, physical is not required. Vina, back to you.
Thanks, Robert. The third website we have is tapster.com. For those of you who have been with us for years, it is our entry submission site and our meet management. For those of you not familiar with Tapster, you'll need to make sure that you get access to that site. Basically, with Tapster, we'll be putting in our students, updating the student spreadsheet with who's in which category, and then entering the entries. Now, it's important that you have all your entry information when you go here. This is where we will create adjudication forms and we'll get the point values for the entries. So it's really important to be accurate when you're putting your entries into Tapster. You will need to know the titles and the composers and the UIL numbers and things like that. So make sure that when you go to Tapster, you actually have all that information ready with you. So preparing yourself for the championship event is just as important as preparing your students. We have a music director's checklist that we'll upload to the website, and I want you to be sure to print that and complete the tasks listed. So knowing the rules before making music selections is best. There are general rules, such as how many entries a student may enter and how many of a particular ensemble you may have. And then there are category-specific rules that talk about the number of song selections required. Do you need a PML versus director's choice for this type of entry? It'll tell you if the entry's performing at the solo and ensemble event or at the concert contest. For those of you who are new to TAPS or new to teaching in Texas, the PML is the UIL's prescribed music list. It contains hundreds of solos and ensemble selections, which are graded based on difficulty. For solos and small ensembles, a class 3 is the hardest, and I'm sorry, I said the backwards. Class 1 is the hardest, and class 3 is the easiest. On the PML website, it denotes everything with the term grade, but in our rules, we do say that solos are on the scale of 1 to 3, and then the ensembles are on the scale of 1 to 6. For large ensembles, the grade is flipped, where grade 1 is the easiest and grade 6 is the hardest. With TAPS, the difficulty level does determine the point values for each of your entries receiving a superior rating, so be sure to keep that in mind as you're selecting music. When putting your entries in Tapster, be sure to enter the correct UIL PML code, the correct title, grade, class, and any specifications that the PML have. Sometimes the PML will say play 1 movement, and another song may say play 1st and 3rd movement. Those specifications must be followed in order to meet the difficulty level of the pieces. So rules are found on our in our TAPS bylaws. So just make sure that you're reading all the way through those general rules as well as the category rules. Okay, for resources, there are several resources available for your preparations. Like I said, there'll be a coach's checklist from the website that you'll want to print and follow along, and it basically will guide you through the whole season. There will be blank adjudication forms, sight reading guidelines. We have previous year's sight reading music available to purchase. There's judges' instructions on what the judges see, and there's even a judge's video of what I send the judges before they judge our events. All these things are things that you should look through, even though you're not a judge. Review the judges' instructions and the judges' training program so that you know what we're expecting of them and what they're expecting to hear from you. Review the concert etiquette with your students and practice being an audience member with them. Have them practice being an audience member, as well as have them practice performing performance etiquette for their solos and small ensembles. If you have specific questions about adjudication, just send those in. I know that some people have been asking specifically, you know, do they grade on this or do they grade on that? And I can go over those adjudication forms with you, or one of our committee members can do that. Some of our committee members are serving as mentors to teachers, so that it's really great that all our programs are being strengthened by each other. I do have some contacts for retired directors and past year adjudicators that love to clinic our groups. So if you're interested in information or contacts from someone that might be able to come listen to your group, just let me know. Okay, another part of the preparation is being prepared for the event. One of our major things is requiring prepared scores for the judges. Remember that solo and ensemble events have one judge, and the students are singing one song, and so you only need one original copy of the score for that one judge. And then make sure the measures are numbered in the original score for the judge, so for easy reference. The medium and large ensemble at the concert event are 3 songs for the large ensemble. It's actually 2 songs for medium, although I didn't put that on there. But you also have 3 judges. So you do need 3 original copies of each of your scores with your measures numbered. So our events is so huge now that we can't do it all in one weekend. And so we do have separate solo and ensemble events from our concert contest. The entry deadline is approaching for solo and ensemble. It's February 20th. Remember, your students are limited to 6 entries, totaling both events, solo and ensemble, and concert contest. It does not include drumline or fall band. So just the 6 entry limit is just with this spring event of solo and ensemble and concert. Schools will be registered automatically to the closest city for solo and ensemble. If you're unable to attend that pre-designated event, you may request to be moved to a different solo event. You just need to request that through the info at TAPSBiz website. So looking at those, for concert contests, we have bands, choirs on April 18th, and bands in Temple on the 21st, orchestras on the 22nd, and then 1, 2, and 6A bands on the 23rd. Now, I do know that Tuesday meet will likely run late. So if any bands that are scheduled, the 3, 4, and 5A schools that are scheduled for Tuesday, if they'd like to perform on Thursday, just let me know, and I'd appreciate some shifting over. It'll help the schedule go a little bit better. As the meet dates get closer, specific meet information will be posted per site. So the solo and ensemble link, there's actually a meet info page for each Houston Baptist, Lubbock, St. Mary's, and Concordia. Now, UTA let me know that they are not able to host us this year. So I am currently seeking for a new location in the DFW area. I've reached out to several universities and colleges, and with this late notice, I haven't found anyone available. So if you think your school might be able to host or have a suggestion, just send me that so I can continue to work to find a location for that event. All right, let's review some things. So first, you're going to go to the website, taps.biz. You're going to contact us if needed at info@taps.biz. The Compliance requirements is in rank 1, where you need a faculty profile and your student eligibility established and completed. And then our communications comes directly from the rank 1 system. So please make sure that you have all your directors and assistants in the rank 1 system. Remember to go over the rules, the general ones plus the specific category rules, and prepare yourself with all the resources that we have listed on the website. Keep track of the dates and the deadlines so that you're sure not to miss any. I know that solo deadline is coming soon after TMEA, so just be prepared to have those entries ready. Make sure your students are prepared by selecting appropriate music for them and also practicing their performance etiquette. Remember, entries are in Tapster, even though eligibility and compliance is in rank 1, and with the deadlines approaching, just be prepared to have all those things like the UIL numbers and stuff on hand when you're ready to do your entries. Okay, we will have workshops and sessions for you at our June convention. Mark your calendars for June 10th through 11th, 2020 at the Waco Convention Center. As we get session topics available, we'll update those on the convention website. If you're interested in leading a workshop for 2020, let me know via the info@taps.biz email address. Or if there's a specific session that you would like to attend, I can probably find someone to lead special sessions. TMEA this year is celebrating 100 years, and so I know a lot of you are going to this special convention in a week or so. So be sure to stop by the TAPS booth and give me a wave. All right, last year we had a super fabulous inaugural honor choir. It was great. Amy Alabon did the work with our kids, and we had assistant directors and accompanists from our own TAPS schools working with our students, and it was just a fabulous experience. This year we have a new clinician, Denise Eaton. I know the vocalist love her, and so she will be working with our students again for our second year of honor choir. We're super excited. Choir students performing in Class 1 solo and awarded a superior rating will receive an invitation at the solo and ensemble event to participate. More information will be posted on the honor choir page of the website as it becomes available. All right, that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for listening and tuning in. If you have any questions, we'll start taking those now.
Looking at the screen, we're not seeing any questions. Thanks to Ryan for his comments. One thing to be looking at is it is a packed spring, and some of the dates have changed for the regional track meets. So if you're planning on coming to band or orchestra for your large ensemble or your medium, please make sure you look at those dates. Make sure they work with you. We will do our best to make sure that we can get you in and make it work. One question that comes up is, do the 7th and 8th graders need to be in rank 1 for the concert contest? So Robert, your thoughts on that? 7th and 8th graders, if you can put them in, it would be good, because if they're going to be competing, they do need to be eligible.
Yes, if you can put them in rank 1. Rank 1 has the capability to do junior high and middle school students as well. That's one of their components. So if you can put them in there, that would be great.
And then Vina, make sure you go over the steps real quick for getting 7th and 8th grade or whatever students eligible for the concert season.
We do have a 7th and 8th grade approval form that will need to be filled out. That will be posted on the website. Basically, your 7th and 8th graders may be used for your largest ensemble. You fill out the form letting us know how many middle school students you have compared to your high school students. It is a requirement that the majority be high school students, so make sure that those numbers match up. Submit that form to info@taps.biz, and the committee will look over and hopefully approve it. You do need to enter those kids in Tapster so that they show up on the ensemble roster, and we know how many actual students are in each of the ensembles. That helps us plan for seats and stands and things like that. So we do need all the students listed everywhere.
And Vina, to get a Tapster login, do you want to just email info@taps.biz for assistance and any assistance with Tapster, or do you have a different plan?
Sure, they can do that. Also, their fine arts director should be able to establish access for them but they can definitely feel free to email info@taps.biz.
I'm not seeing any more questions. We appreciate you. There will be frequently asked questions put up on the website. We encourage you to go to taps.biz, click on Fine Arts, click on Instrumental or Vocal Music or Orchestra. On the right-hand side, you'll find the blog. That blog will have the latest questions as they come through, and we will move forward. I think that as we go forward as well, that will be your best source of information. Make sure that you are in rank 1 so that you can receive the push notifications. It's always helpful to be able to communicate with you. We will not be using emails through MailChimp as the spring progresses. So if you're not in rank 1, let's make sure we get you in there. John has a few comments, and I appreciate you again for being on this conference call, on this webinar, and for your concern and for your desire to help TAPS be the best it can be. John?
Once again, thanks, folks, for joining us. The recording for this webinar will be made available this afternoon on our YouTube page, and those of you who registered will get an email from GoToWebinar that has a direct link to that. One last thing, if your teams or programs, your bands and choirs and all that stuff, if you guys have Twitter accounts, or if your schools have Twitter accounts, we have two dedicated for music, TAPS Band and TAPS Choir. If you would give us a follow, share some of the stuff that you guys are doing to prepare for these championships. We'd like to get some content out there and show the rest of the state what our schools are up to. And again, that's at TAPS Choir and at TAPS Band. Those are also good resources for parents or anybody who's going to be attending the championships, because we'll be putting links to photos, to our live broadcasts, all of our any up to date or up to the minute news, or anything that we need to share quickly is going to go there first. So TAPS Choir and TAPS Band. Thank you guys again for joining us, and have a good afternoon.
Thanks, guys.